Hi friends, Evolving guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for following along with our collection journey. So today is a video that I'm very excited about. I've been thinking about it for a long time, and the only thing I've hesitated is I don't really have a super professional setup here. I'm just recording on my phone, and I've been holding out, maybe thinking I would like improve my setup before I did this video, but I just figured, you know, I'm not a professional. This is just for fun, and so I'm just going to go for it. So today we are going to be showing my Tomokazu Komiya binder. So if you know, Tomokazu Komiya is one of the artists who does the Pokemon cards. He's been doing art since the very beginning, or near the beginning at least. I'm not an expert in all of his work, but I've been collecting his cards. I think I was first turned on to his cards by Real Breaking Nate, who really likes his art. And so I just but I also just noticed independently that I really liked the cards that you keep noticing, like, I really like that card and I really like that card. And then you start paying attention to who the artists are. And I just realized that I really like his style. It's very distinct. And so anyway, I started building a binder where I'm collecting hopefully one of each of his cards over time. And so today I'm going to show you that binder, and I actually have some cards to put inside that I've picked up recently. This is a Machamp Wizards of the Coast promo card that he did. So it's actually one of the very earliest cards that he did, at least according to my research. And so I'm going to add that to the binder. I also have this Pidgeot card that I picked up at a card store in another city when I was just poking around. This is, I think, the reverse holo variant. But it's very cool looking, and so we're going to add that in. I have the Sudowoodo, which is kind of fun because it's a holo rare card, as you can see. Most of Tomokazu's cards, one nice thing is actually most of his cards are just kind of commons and uncommons, so even if they're old, they're not necessarily that expensive. He does have a handful of like ultra rare, kind of nicer cards in more recent sets, but yeah, he's actually not that hard to collect as far as like there aren't cards that are super out of reach. And this Sudowoodo is kind of fun because this artwork has popped up in Pokemon TCG Pocket. If you're doing the Pocket app, the Sudowoodo card that's in one of the new sets is actually this artwork, so it's kind of cool to see it come back around. It's actually a really good card in Pocket if you're using a fighting deck and attacking. It does a lot of damage on the EXs. But anyway, and then the last card is a modern card. You can see the Baxcalibur. This is from Paldea Evolved. I have this in some cases, I have when I get a Tomokazu card, my first thing is to put it into the master set that I'm collecting. So we have the Baxcalibur for the master set of Paldea Evolved, but I wanted to pick up a second copy, which I did recently for my Tomokazu binder. And so this is one of the rare cases of where he's got like kind of in this case, it's an illustration rare, I think, or is this an SIR? Anyway, I think it's just an illustration rare, but anyway. So these are the 4 cards we're going to add to the binder as we go through it, but I did want to just kind of show it to you as we go. And again, apologize that there's probably going to be some glare, and I'm going to do my best just kind of with the handheld here. I just have this regular binder for now. I don't have a special binder, but anyway, what I did is I created a list where I put all the cards in order from the beginning to the end. And so you're going to see just as we go. Actually, I'm going to get the Machamp card. So the Machamp card, actually, I'm doing the Wizards of the Coast promo here at the beginning of this first block of cards, and so this Machamp can go right in there. So it's actually the number 2. The only earlier card is a Smear Gold promo from Wizards of the Coast that he did. But you can see here, again, it's just when you see them all lined up, you know, there is this distinct style that he has, which I really like. So these are just some of the ones that I've been able to pick up, and then we'll kind of flip through. Again, these are in order of release. So again, hopefully you're getting at least some sense. We're not going to probably have time to do a deep dive into all these cards. So yeah, every time, I mean, it's kind of a fun thing if you haven't thought about collecting maybe the art of a particular artist. I think it does help, like when I go to card shows. I mean, the kind of 2 things I look for is, number 1, I'm a master set builder, so I have my list of cards that I'm looking for the master sets that I'm working on. There's a Clefairy. Some of these you can just see kind of through the ages as the borders change, as we get into different sets and eras. Again, apologies for any of the like glare. You can see my phone. Oh, actually, I'm going to back up a couple because I forgot that the Pidgeot, which I was talking about earlier, it actually goes here. I looked up kind of beforehand where these went and tried to... So that goes there. It's kind of nice to start completing these pages or getting a little bit closer. You can see there's a lot of gaps, especially in some of these early sets. And it's not because these cards are necessarily expensive, and I could just go online and probably order a lot of them. But like I was saying, it's kind of fun. For me, it like gives me something else to look for when I'm at card shows. It's nice to have some collecting goals that guide you when you're, looking through cards at a local card store or at a card show, or, wherever. And so you can see, like for me, if I don't collect vintage cards. I don't like, especially high-end vintage cards. You can see here's one of the promos from Team Rocket Returns, which is kind of cool. And again, I just think so many of these cards are so unique. They've got some great artwork. You can see definitely some gaps. I have fewer gaps as we get into the more modern, because I've been, as I decided that I wanted to do a collection like this, then I'm just kind of aware when there's a new set coming out, I'll just make sure to grab, extra copies of the Tomokazu cards. Actually, the Sudowoodo, I'm trying to remember. I've got my list off to the side here. I want to put the Sudowoodo. Oh yeah, so the Macargo, that goes here actually. So the Sudowoodo Holo, which is kind of, again, this cool card, that actually goes here. So I'm going to slide that in. So there's 3 of the 4. The last one we're going to add is in the modern moment. And so we can look through. You can see I definitely have some gaps. Like here's a page where there's only 1 card on it. So I've got some work to do. But like I said, this isn't something that's like of urgency. It's just something that helps guide if I happen to notice a Tomokazu card, or again, if I'm at a, even at like a yard sale, or I'm just looking through old cards, this is something that will guide me. It kind of gives me a motivation, like to look through those old cards, because I'll look for can I find a Tomokazu Komiya card from one of these earlier sets, even if I'm not going to be picking up other cards. Here's a whole blank page. You can see I definitely have some work to do. I forget what era. I guess we're starting to get into, I think this is Roaring Skies. I don't know all of the set symbols. And if I do happen to be lucky enough to get here's a reverse, you can see I'll just put that on top just like I would. I try to get one with modern stuff that I am collecting. I try to get like one regular version. And if there's like any sort of like a reverse variant or whatever, you can see up here, we've got the Execute. So now we're starting to get into, I think, eras where I'm going to have, here's our first, is this maybe the first full page that we have with Ruffet, Hypno. There's another Clefairy, Ponyta. I mean, I do remember actually seeing this Gulpin card. This is one of my favorite cards, really, of all time. I remember noticing this card when I was very first collecting, and I just thought, oh, that's such kind of a fun image with the Gulpin and the boy balancing the forks on their nose. And yeah, just realizing, oh, well, that's a Tomokazu. Again, at first I just was like, I like this card, and I like this card, and I like this card, and realizing there's a kind of fun Snorlax with some people in the background. Here's one of the few kind of ultra rare cards that is Tomokazu. There's another card, I think it's a Dedenne card, that kind of has this similar vibe, and I actually thought it was a Tomokazu card. Occasionally there are other artists who do things that kind of look like his work, but I think that his stuff is still pretty distinct. So here we're getting, again, a little bit more. Now we're kind of into, there's Lost Thunder. I mean, I know some of it. Usually, I mean, what I found when I built the list of cards that he's done is, in most sets he'll do like between 1 and 4 cards. And kind of really from kind of the beginning, like I said, he even has a couple Wizards of the Coast promos that he's done. Here's one, this is kind of fun. He didn't do this whole card, but he did the artwork on, I think, this Pikachu. So it's other artists as well. I think that's correct. You can correct me in the comments. So now we're kind of getting into the more modern stuff. You can see here we're into this Sword and Shield era. We're into Rebel Clash. Like this is a Sword and Shield promo card. And then Sword and Shield base set, 2 cards. Rebel Clash, 2 cards. Darkness Ablaze, 3 cards. So that's kind of, it's between 1 and 4 cards. And then with these more modern sets that I've opened a lot of, I do try to have 1 copy, like I said, of the regular and 1 copy of the reverse holo variant. I think I'm pretty good with that. There are a few gaps in these modern sets. I can't even tell you actually. Chilling Reign. Oh, this is the Drought. He did there's an alt art that he did for Chilling Reign. That would be here. I think it's the Galarian Slow King. This is off the top of my head. I do have that for my master set, but that's a more valuable, expensive card. I'm not opposed to picking it up just for this collection, but I just haven't made that a priority. So you can see there are a few gaps. There are a few gaps here too. Again, I don't actually know. It looks like this is Astral Radiance. I don't think those, in these cases, these are like expensive cards, but I just must be missing them for whatever reason. We get into here. You can see he did this in the the Glaring Gallery for Crown Zenith. He did this Oricorio card, which is very cool. And now we're getting into, again, in the Scarlet and Violet base set, he did this Drowsy, which has kind of gone up and down. It's been a little bit of a yo-yo as a card. As far as pricing goes, it went up to as high as I think $60 and then dropped way back down. So I do have, again, a copy of this for my Scarlet and Violet Master Set. And then here's this Paldea Evolved, this line, the Baxcalibur line, which actually was, I think, pretty playable. And I do have, again, the Baxcalibur that I have picked up, and that goes up here. So we're going to add that in. Again, I have a copy for my Master Set for Paldea, but I wanted to get copies for this binder as well, and then we'll keep going. You can see another of the Brute Bonnet from Paradox Rift, very cool. Again, I think he just has this distinct style. I'll have to check what I'm missing here, and I do have the Journey Together Noibat. I think that's what we're up to now. Destined Rivals isn't out yet, so I'll have to see. I don't know if he has other Journey Together, and I'm sure I need to grab some reverses, it looks like here. So that kind of takes you to the modern, and actually I do have in the very back, I grabbed a couple. These are Japanese Tomokazu artworks, so just they don't fit in my, I'm just collecting English for my Master Set, and so I just toss any other cards in the back. So anyway, I was excited to show you this today. I hope you enjoyed looking at my Tomokazu Komiya working on the Master Set. I'm curious how you collect, if you're collecting a particular artist, or if you have thoughts on this collection or anything about Tomokazu. I'm still learning. So anyway, thanks for checking it out. And if we do add more cards, maybe this will be a regular feature where if we add more Tomokazu cards to the binder, we can do a video and just kind of update you on how this binder is looking. So anyway, thank you very much. We'll catch you soon.